A well-trained dog becomes invaluable. If someone gets into your home while you're away, it will literally take a battle to get it back. That makes the first couple of days a good time to grill some of that meat that you have in the freezer. In blackout drills, entire cities used blackout curtains to prevent enemy bombers from spotting them at night. This same concept applies during a societal collapse. Welcome to Alta Survival. This is part 2 in the series Top 10 Considerations for Bunkering In. In part 1, we covered the main purpose of bunkering in and how to avoid being a target of hostile and desperate groups. In this segment, we're going to cover even more, starting with security. Security is important in almost every situation. Security is an essential part of our daily lives, especially in today's world. We rely on various tools such as cameras, alarm systems, and driveway alerts to keep us informed. If you live in a large neighborhood or have a backyard with multiple access points, it's even more important to have a system in place to monitor activity. In a situation where power is lost, security becomes more of a physical task. This is when perimeter alarms might be an option. These can be an affordable alternative and can be set up near entry points like doors or stairways and provide an extra layer of security. Finding ways to stay vigilant ensures that no matter the situation, we can maintain security and protect our homes and loved ones. In a crisis, we may still have power, but we also need to consider alternative security measures. This is where having a watchful presence, such as a well-trained dog, becomes invaluable. It doesn't have to be a large breed like a Doberman or a German Shepherd. Dogs that are trained can be great for providing protection and security, but sometimes they can also add challenges for visitors and delivery guys. That's why choosing the right dog for your situation is important. Interestingly, the most alert member of our household is our little Maltipoo. Despite her size, she's incredibly vigilant. If someone pulls into our driveway or if anything unusual happens, she's the first to react. She watches from our living room windows and the windows in the rear of our house, acting as a sentry, constantly watching the surroundings. This is our early warning system. Owning a dog obviously comes with responsibilities like feeding and caring for him. Understandingly, not everyone has the option to own a dog, especially those living in apartments or homes with restrictions. Having a dog, regardless of the breed, can provide an extra layer of awareness and security. It doesn't have to be a trained guard dog. Simply having a watchful companion can make all the difference in staying alert and prepared. For those in densely populated areas, having a security plan is essential. This could mean having an alternative location to retreat to in an emergency, or building a strong relationship with neighbors to enhance a collective security. Just to make a point on working in teams, I'll touch on this in the next segment of the series, having a team or a mutual assistance group to coordinate security with. Next is never leave belongings unattended. This almost seems too obvious to say out loud, but this is one of the things that we might want to justify sometimes. How are you going to secure your home if you have to leave for a bit? What if you need to leave to gather supplies or handle an urgent task? If it happens, it's essential to have someone guarding your property and your provisions. One of the biggest advantages of bunkering in is that it's not only your shelter, but it's also where you keep all your resources and your possessions. You don't want to risk people breaking in and taking what you've worked hard to prepare. With a rise in squatting incidents, it's become even more important to have someone always watching your home. In fact, when some people go on vacation, they'll arrange to have a house sitter stay in their home and take care of their pets and make sure everything stays secure. The same principle applies in a survival situation. If you need to leave, someone should be there to defend your home and your belongings. If someone gets into your home while you're away, it will literally take a battle to get it back. The bottom line is, if you must leave, make sure your home remains protected. So we're going to go next to cooking indoors during a societal collapse. We all have our regular methods and routines for cooking either at home in the kitchen or cooking outside when we're camping or barbecuing. Then the world turns upside down, and suddenly our cooking fuel source inside the home is gone, and you remember that you're not supposed to cook outside during SHTF. Now what? Yes, grilling outside telegraphs to everyone that you're cooking. But can you remember which cooking methods are safe to use inside the house? How do you know you'll be safe from carbon monoxide poisoning? Can't bring your grill inside the house. Do you have a wood stove? Where's that backpacking stove you used to have? If you haven't already thought this through, you might be having some anxiety right now just thinking about the options. Where's the best place for you to cook? Because you will have to cook. Initially, there will be a lot of people cooking outside. That makes the first couple of days a good time to grill some of that meat that you have in the freezer so it doesn't go bad. If you have a smoker, that'll help preserve some of the meat for longer as well. After several days, if you fire up that grill or smoker, that smell is going to travel fast and create a lot of interest among neighbors and anyone else traveling in the vicinity. The only benefit is you may finally get to meet your neighbors that live down the road and always kept to themselves. Now they'll have a reason to come introduce themselves. Let me share some ideas with you for safely cooking inside during grid down, and you can plan an evening to test that out with your family. There are some safe, low-profile methods to cook inside while avoiding detection and maintaining operational security. Possibly the best for indoor cooking are butane stoves. They're safe for indoor use and they provide a strong heat. While using those stoves, maintain good ventilation and use a carbon monoxide detector. Another is alcohol stoves. Alcohol burns clean, making it one of the safest fuel options for indoor cooking. Of course, a rocket stove can be used in a fireplace with a functioning chimney. Sterno cans are smokeless and portable. These use either an ethanol or methanol-based fuel and are safe for indoor use. In my preps, I have an Instafire Vesta. It's a self-powered heater and an indoor grill that I purchased from my Patriot Supply. You can use up to 3 units of canned heat at one time. This allows you to cook without revealing your location. There are some low heat options that work well for heating small amounts of food, like tea light candles. Use 4 to 6 unscented tea candles under a clay pot for warming food. Obviously, the types of cooking methods that you won't want to use are ones that are too dangerous to use indoors, like charcoal grills and barbecues. Don't use anything with a full-size propane tank because those can leak and cause explosions. Can't use campfires, gasoline or diesel stoves. Anything else, any other type of fire, just make sure you have a fireplace and the proper ventilation. Just some final tips to sum up cooking indoors. Ventilation is key. Use a carbon monoxide detector. Save up some butane, alcohol, and sterno. Plan for stealthy cooking. Smoke, smells, and light can attract attention. And have fire extinguishers ready, just in case. Always make safety a priority. Be aware of fire hazards and dangerous gases. Try to keep food smells to a minimum in order to keep a low profile. Your neighbors could have a pot full of chili cooking on the stove right now and you wouldn't even know it. But after you've gone several days or even weeks with hardly anything to eat, you are going to notice. Hungry people will have heightened senses, and at some point their hunger or their children's hunger will drive them out in search for food. Visit altasurvival.com for a detailed guide on cooking with limited ingredients and rationing food during a grid down scenario. That'll help you maximize your supplies, avoid waste, and stay nourished in a survival situation. Let's talk about light discipline. Why is that important? Visible light at night can signal your presence to desperate or hostile individuals. If resources are scarce, you don't want to become a target. Whether bunkering in or bugging out, keeping a low profile helps protect your supplies and your group. Light can give away your location to looters, raiders, or any hostile group. Bright lights also diminish your ability to see in the dark. Operating in low light or with a red light allows you to see without attracting attention. Bright lights can disturb wildlife, alert predators, or make you stand out and more visible to threats. So how do you practice this and maintain light discipline? Use blackout curtains or heavy blankets to block the windows and prevent indoor light from escaping. Preserve night vision and attract less attention. Using red, blue, or green filters will preserve night vision. Tea light candles or oil lamps or dimmed survival lanterns provide discreet lighting. Fires and lanterns can be seen from miles away. If you're outside, use Dakota pits to reduce visibility. Cover flashlights or lanterns with fabric or use your hand to create a directional beam instead of a widespread light. Be aware of your electronic devices. Even small LEDs on radios, solar chargers, or generators can be visible in the darkness. If absolutely needed, use light before total darkness sets in, or during overcast conditions when it's less visible. Again, visit altasurvival.com for more resources on low-profile lighting options. Here are just a few more tips on light discipline in order to minimize visible light. Position the light downward or use a low-to-the-ground light placement. Use black fabric, plastic, and tape to reduce light leaks. Test your setup at night to see what's visible from a distance. Prioritize heat-free options, as candles and oil lamps can be fire hazards in tight spaces. During World War II, sailors and soldiers were required to avoid the smallest lights at night. Something as small as a lit cigarette could be seen from hundreds of yards away, giving away their position to the enemies. In blackout drills, entire cities used blackout curtains to prevent enemy bombers from spotting them at night. This same concept applies during a societal collapse. Light makes you a target. Closely related to light discipline is noise discipline. Noise discipline is crucial during an event of this type because unnecessary noise can attract unwanted attention, whether from desperate individuals, looters, or hostile groups. Here's what you need to know. Loud noises can give away your location, especially in a situation where people are scavenging for supplies. Unwanted attention can come from looters, desperate individuals, or hostile groups. A quiet environment allows you to hear approaching threats, whether it's people, animals, or other potential hazards. Avoid loud conversations and slamming doors. Excessive movement can create noise which attracts attention. Wind can knock over unsecured objects, creating noise that'll carry for a long distance. If you're on the move, walk carefully, avoiding gravel, dry leaves, and crunchy surfaces. Practice moving silently. Secure any loose gear. Use cloth to wrap metal parts that might clank, and pack items tightly to avoid rattling. Use hand signals instead of speaking when in a group. Ensure that your firearms, knives, and other gear don't clatter. When cooking, take caution to minimize sound. Avoid clanging pots and dishes. Work on obedience training for pets and have a way to keep them calm if they start barking unnecessarily. Consider your timing when using power tools, or only use them when absolutely necessary. If you must use a generator, place it inside a soundproofing enclosure. In a post-collapse world with a decrease in background noise, like traffic and industrial sounds, even small noises will carry much further than you'd expect. Sounds like hammering, chopping wood, talking loudly can be heard from a great distance, especially in rural areas or at night. If you're preparing for a societal collapse scenario, train yourself and your group to operate with minimal noise. Valleys, buildings, and tunnels can amplify and carry sound further. Turn off beeping devices, phones, and alarms that could suddenly make a noise. By mastering noise discipline, you increase your chances of staying unnoticed and keeping yourself and your group safe. Stay quiet, stay vigilant, stay ready. Speaking of noise, one of the things that you really should have is an emergency radio, with an earpiece of course, so that you have a source for news. This will replace TV and internet news sources. They can be solar powered, battery powered, or hand crank. Two-way radios will also be an important source of communication with close neighbors, family, and team members. Be vigilant and stay ready. And click here for part 3 of considerations for bugging in.